And now, from the San Francisco Bay Area, Shaw Pirelli and the Shaw Pirelli Law Show, bringing you what matters most with over 50,000 watts of power.
Hi, this is attorney Shah Pirali, and we're going to go over some of the questions people are getting on the H1B interview at the US Embassy. And it's a very interesting situation because questions are changing as we go, but there are some questions that are there and are usually not uh, they are not changing. So some of the sample of the questions are, for example, they will ask you about your job, how long you have been working for the company, if you're already working for the company, if you're going for stamping. But if you are already if you're new H1B, because that's going to come once those new H1B are going to start to come, they might be asking you about your previous company, your experience and documents. Right now there's a big thing going on with the ICE on the document fraud, and you have this special task force that has been really targeting all those who have provided false documents. So you need to be ready if your company is under investigation, or if you have provided any document which is not really legitimate. You need to be careful, because you can be charged of a 212 misrepresentation and willful misrepresentation or fraud. So just to go over some of the questions that you get usually in those cases, you have when you go for the interview, they will ask you also about your experience and your education, and where did you graduate, what kind of they might ask you also technical questions. For example, if you applied for as a computer engineer, they might ask you a bunch of questions related to the field. And also they might ask you question about, mostly they ask question about the company. Ultimately, if the company is a consulting company, then be ready to explain. If they are placing you to an end client, who's the end client, where are you going to work, how are you going to work, where are you going to live, and how, if you're saying you're living far from the job, you might have to explain how are you going to commute to the job every day. And remote work, remember, is a problem, so be careful on that. And also they will ask you questions sometimes about how you're planning to use your H1B. Remember, H1B is a dual intent visa. That means you can still have the intention of getting a green card. So you should not be worried when this question is being asked, because this is not the same question as if you were on a student visa. But if the question is asked about the green card, most people want to have a green card, so you should tell the truth, and make sure you're telling the truth, because that's the biggest problem that we see. People tend to just ignore this, and also they ask you a lot how you got the job, right? How did you get this company, especially if it is a small company? Where did you get the name, where did you get the phone number, who was the one who interviewed you, and did you do an interview with the end client? They might ask you questions about a lot of other things, including the tax returns from the company and things like that. Oftentimes the tax returns, no company will release that, so be very, very careful. And also they will ask you, how do you plan to sustain yourself as soon as you enter the United States? Where are you going to live? Do you have a house? Is your employer providing you a house? And they also, if you're coming with your spouse, they will ask for your marriage certificate. Then for the H4, they will ask you also for a valid passport. Make sure you have a valid passport. They can pretty much ask you anything, so be ready when you go for those interviews. The best way is to have everything ready and to be really not too nervous, because otherwise, even it is a really nerve-breaking situation. I recommend that you keep your composure and you answer clearly, and make sure when you answer you give a direct answer. You don't go beat around the bush to answer the question, because that is going to cost you really dearly, because a lot of people tend to answer one question with something totally different, and it irritates the interviewing officer. And also, for example, if you're entering the United States on an H1B, for example, let's say your company is in California, but you're entering in New York. So, and your ticket, what you brought with you, because you have to bring a copy of your itinerary and your air ticket. And if you're landing in New York, Jamaica, they will definitely question you why you're going to New York when your company is in California. So it is very, very important that you carry all your original documents with you at the interview. For example, even they don't ask for the birth certificate, you need to bring it if you have one. Your passport has to be valid. Make sure it is valid more than 6 months. I recommend at least 2 years validity. And make sure that when you're going there, you have a copy of the original of everything. So in case the officer asks for one, you just can submit the copy and they will look at the original and they might keep the copy. And also make sure that if in case you have any kind of criminal issues or background, you have a disposition of the court with you in case they ask for that, or it found out that basically you have some kind of inadmissibility issues, so you need to be ready for that also. Oftentimes many people, when they go to those interviews, they get very irritated because they tend not to take any the documents from you. But the truth is that most of the time when they don't take it, they already kind of have an idea where you're going on your case, and they already have an idea that either they will approve it or deny it, and without even looking at the documents, unfortunately. And that's a reality, and unfortunately we don't even have any kind of record to show when some denials are being really arbitrary or capricious. Is very hard to prove. So be ready and make sure when you go to the interview, then what happens after the interview, they will basically give you three things might happen. One, the case is approved, you get your stamp. Second one, it's denied. Or third one, it's put on hold for administrative processing, which is the rule of INE 221G. And just because you have this doesn't mean that the case is denied. 221G are often three ways. There's one where they basically just flatly denies you, and the second one is where they will put it on hold a little bit with the US Embassy itself to do some check, usually background check. And the third one is when they return it to the Department of Homeland Security for ultimately then basically the case is returned, you won't get your visa. So having said that, make sure, very important, make sure the documents you're giving at the embassy is legitimate. I repeat that, because any single mistake you make, it will cost you, and it will cost you dearly, because now they're very picky on that. They are even here in the United States going after people who give illegitimate documents. Unfortunately, people think it's a simple resume is okay, but once you give an illegitimate document, what happens to you? You fall into the category of willful misrepresentator or fraud, and that carries a 212 bar, and you need to be ready to waive that bar. So um, bottom line, the interview at the US Embassy or consulate is not very difficult. However, if it is not done properly, you will end up by suffering and probably not get a visa down the road. So make sure, for one, you answer the question truthfully. Things you don't remember, you say you don't remember, and make sure you bring original documents of everything you got, just in case. And it would be good also to carry a copy of the H1B petition if you have with you. If you don't, make sure you have the original of the H1B 797 approval to get your visa. Good luck to all of you. I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, feel free to call us 510-742-5887. This is Attorney Chaparali signing off, and anything again I'm telling you is for educational purposes only. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. Thank you. Bye bye.